Good morning, everybody. I feel like there's a lot of empty seats here in the front and everybody's just tucked in the back, but feel free to come forward if you want to. Lots of room up here. So welcome everybody to the 2024 Mining Health and Safety Conference hosted by Workplace Safety North. My name is Alicia Woods and I will be your MC today. I also thought I had to keep us on schedule, but I see I have a partner up front who's going to help me do that today. We begin this event by acknowledging that we are on the Robinson-Erie Treaty territory, and the land is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility to improve relationships between nations and to improve our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call the land home. For those that don't know me, I'm the founder and CEO of Covergalls Workwear. Out of my very own frustration in having to wear men's coveralls, I launched the first ever female coverall. After trialing with a group of women at Valet and receiving Valet's PPE committee's approval, we then took the product and launched it on CBC's TV show, The Dragon's Den. If you think about it, clothes empower a person. Think about when you woke up this morning and you got dressed. Clothes provide confidence, they reflect who you are as an individual, and they make you feel included. The same goes for workwear. So if, for myself, I was showing up at work wearing my dad's clothes every day. How included does that make you feel? Not to mention all the safety and the health issues, but just think about it. Be mindful of those around you. Again, clothing empowers a person. And this translates over to workwear. Mike and I were talking. People wear workwear every day, all day for their career. So something to think about this morning. The conference theme is Inclusive Minds, a Safer Future. And it emphasizes the importance of diversity and equity in ensuring safer work environments for all. At the core of my work lies a steadfast commitment to diversity, inclusion, and innovation, making today's event particularly meaningful to me. Workplace Safety North, along with my Ontario Mine Rescue, have been unwavering supporters of Covergalls since its inception, demonstrating their dedication to safety, health, and inclusivity. Their consistent backing through involving us in events like the International Mine Rescue Competition in 2016 here in Sudbury, and more recently, providing us with the opportunity to outfit all of the contestants on the Great Canadian Race. This serves as a testament to their commitment to fostering a workplace culture that prioritizes the well-being and inclusion of all individuals. This partnership underscores the shared goal of ensuring safety and comfort for workers across diverse industries, reinforcing the importance of creating safer and more inclusive work environments for all. Let us now embark on this day of learning, collaboration, and advancement together. This year marks 26 years of Workplace Safety North hosting this annual event, and it is wonderful to see everybody here. A special shout out to those who are on the video live stream today, sponsored by WSIB. We have folks watching from all over the world, across North America, Australia, Serbia, Bosnia. So welcome everybody. Before we begin with this morning's speakers, we would like to thank a number of our sponsors. As you know, events such as these could not take place without them. A big thank you to our diamond sponsor, Sophie. The keynote sponsor is Red Path Mining Contractors and Engineers. Thank you for your continued support of this event. As I mentioned, the live stream sponsor is WSIB. At the platinum level, many thanks to Provex and Nemio Occupational Health. At the gold level, we would like to thank ESA, the Electrical Safety Authority, Major Drilling, Glencore Sudbury Integrated Nickel Operations, and Vale Base Metals. At the silver level, many thanks to Canadian Tradex, Cementation Canada, Mammoth Equipment, and KGHM. And at the nickel level, thank you to Alex McIntyre and Associates, Accutron Instruments, and TopView. A couple housekeeping items before we begin. The exits are located on each side of the room. The markings are above each door. The washrooms are just beyond the exit door on each side of the room, actually. And I guess maybe a little safety share this morning. So I did do my safety act of the day with Mike with his laces on his shoes so he didn't trip. But speaking on the kind of topic of tripping, many of you have bags, purses, or backpacks probably tucked under your chair. So just make sure that the straps are properly tucked so that if we do have to get up and leave, you're not tripping over your bags. So today, all the sessions will be held in this room. There will be a health break at 10 a.m. over in the solarium. Lunch will be served at 11:30 in Georgian ABC. And we encourage you to visit the trade show where we have over 25 vendors showcasing their products, service, innovations, and new technologies. Be sure to fill out your trade show passport by visiting each of those exhibitors for a chance to win a prize. The draw will happen at 3:45, and you must be here to win. And that draw takes place today and tomorrow. And lastly, let's get social. So Meg is handling social media here, and so when you are posting on social media, which we encourage you to do so, make sure that you use the hashtag #MiningSafety2024, and that is all one word. Now, to kick off today's session, I would like to take the time to introduce Sudbury's Mayor, Paul Lefebvre. Mayor Lefebvre was elected Mayor of Greater Sudbury on October 24th, 2022. He assumed office on November 15th, 2022. He also serves as a board member on the Greater Sudbury Development Corporation and the Greater Sudbury Police Services Board. Mayor Lefebvre was twice elected Member of Parliament for the riding of Sudbury, serving from 2015 to 2021. During his time with the federal government, he sat on the Public Accounts and Official Languages Committee before being appointed Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources. He was an engaged and dedicated contributor to the Canadian Mineral and Metals Plan. In June 2019, he represented Canada at the Energy and Environmental G20 Summit in Japan. Welcome, Mr. Lefebvre.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing this morning? Try that again. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing this morning? Right on, right on. Thank you. It's important we do that so early. It was a late night last night for us and at City Council. So on behalf of City Council, I'm pleased to welcome all attendees here today in person, and certainly that is joining us online from across the world, to the 2024 Mining Health and Safety Conference hosted by Workplace Safety North. I want to thank President and CEO Mike Parra for the invitation to join you this morning, as well as to recognize his and the entire Workplace Safety North's team's leadership in this area. Here in Greater Sudbury, we understand the importance of working together to address existing and emerging safety considerations in the mining industry. We all share the goal of ensuring that every worker returns home at the end of their shift safe and healthy. Our community's long and rich mining history provides a unique case study in illustrating the challenges and opportunities inherent in a modern, cleaner, and safer mining industry. As the world's largest integrated mining industrial complex, Greater Sudbury currently has 9 operating mines, 2 mills, 2 smelters, a nickel refinery, and over 300 mining supply and services companies that is growing, that is all within our municipal boundaries. And we just look across outside of our boundaries, the Cote Gold Project and many more. We are very unique in the world. Nobody has this industrial complex in the mining worlds. And I often challenge folks to say, well, you know, I met in my former job, as was said, as Parliamentary Secretary, I met with a lot of different ministers from different countries around the world. I remember meeting with the country of Sweden. How many mines do you guys have? In the whole country, they had 10. I said, well, I got 9 within the boundaries of the city itself. So we're quite unique in that way, and I think we recognize that, and that's why we are having these important conferences here, and health and safety is always top of mind. As you will know, since the late 20th century, improved ventilation controls, technological advances in automation, and the introduction of underground communications and remote-controlled machinery have all reduced the risk of accidents and improved working conditions for miners. Regulatory improvements and labor union advocacy have also contributed to safer workplaces. In many cases, Greater Sudbury has been at the forefront of these changes, led by many stakeholders in this room, and for that, I want to thank you. While much progress has been made to improve physical safety measures, continuous efforts are necessary to further ensure the mental well-being and cultural safety of workers in the mining industry. So this year's theme, Inclusive Minds, A Safer Future, reminds us that healthy and safe workplaces are those that prioritize equity and inclusion, encouraging the recruitment of workers from diverse backgrounds and then ensuring these workers are supported in their career paths is an important consideration for a healthy, modern mining industry. And of course, understanding emerging risks and ensuring that emergency preparedness planning and mine rescue strategies remain current within a changing technological environment is also and always paramount. À l'égard de l'industrie minière du Grand Sudbury, je crois fermement qu'il faut regarder de l'avant et planifier l'avenir. Nous devons rester ouverts aux nouvelles idées, aux nouvelles preuves et aux nouvelles façons de faire les choses et de bien les faire. So thank you to the hosts of this conference, Workplace Safety North, and to all organizers who made this even possible. Workplace Safety North builds important relationships across Northern Ontario as a trusted safety advisor and carries on the important tradition of making workplaces safer since 1915. So with that, have a great conference, everyone. Amusez-vous cette semaine, aujourd'hui. Thank you so much. Miigwech.
Thank you, Mayor Lefebvre. You're definitely right. I think Greater City of Sudbury is very unique. And if you think about everything that we have in this location from, academia, innovation, technology, mining companies, the supply service sector, we have really everything right here, and definitely number one, I think, in my view, in the world. Yeah. So now it's my honor to introduce Chief Prevention Officer Dr. Joel Moody to share a few remarks. So Dr. Joel Moody has been Ontario's Chief Prevention Officer since September 15th, 2021. He brings over 17 years of experience in labor organizations and served as Chief Public Safety Officer at ESA, the Electrical Safety Authority. Leading Ontario's Prevention Division, he advises the Minister on Workplace Injury Prevention and collaborates with stakeholders to transform the health and safety system. Dr. Moody is recognized for his innovation, harm reduction strategies, stakeholder engagement, and commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. He holds degrees from Harvard University, George Washington University, University of Alabama at Birmingham, and Duke University. Join me this morning in welcoming Dr. Joel Moody.
Well, good morning, everyone, and once again, very hard to follow His Worship. But I want to say, first and foremost as well, thank you for organizers, Mike, you, the board, WSN, all your staff, for putting on a great conference this year. Heard it sold out in, I wouldn't say a record time, but a lot of great work that's being done. So also to our community that's online, thank you so much for having us. The work that WSN does, the work that you as the stakeholders in the community do, I want to say thank you. So on behalf of Minister Piccini, on behalf of the Deputy Minister and the rest of my colleagues at the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, there will be a test at the end of the day to make sure we get all those letters correct. We want to say thank you wholeheartedly because the work that you do is world known. This is the preeminent conference around health and safety from a mining perspective in the world. The work that WSN does, the work that Ontario Mine Rescue does, the work that you within your industries do with your staff are known throughout the world. The leadership that exists in this room, I would put it against any country in the world. And that's the kudos to you. But we know that at the end of the day, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So when we talk about strategy and safety, as Lisa said, my job is to talk, Alicia, sorry, when we talk about prevention of workplace injury, illness, disease, and death. That's my job. And so how do we do that? We have a strategy. We talk about data. So what are some of the statistics? And this is something that we want to really ensure that we know about. So in 2023, great year from a fatality standpoint. We know that one death is one death too many, and we're not going to stop until we do not have fatalities that exist within our industry. So in 2023, we had one, but the year before we had 3. So once again, it's changing. But we know that that's not where we want to be because critical injuries still exist. We're still getting injured at times. So how do we find ways by which we're going to continue to work together? And it's great to hear the sponsors that you have, Mike, because it demonstrates the connectivity. It demonstrates the collaboration that exists between all the partners. So the data are telling us we're moving in the right direction, still work to be done, hence we're having more conference to talk about what are the opportunities of what we want to do. We then talk about the standpoint around the changing environment that we're having. Inclusive minds, a safer future. The people. The workforce is changing. I'm originally from the US, from Alabama, so coal mines, steel industry was real big when I was growing up. And that true proverbial canary in the coal mines that we all hear, we technically don't have that canary anymore. It just demonstrates the innovation. Things change. Our workplaces continue to evolve. The nature of our work evolves. But with that being said, we know that at some point, many of us in this room are going to be retiring. So what are we doing to find ways in which we're creating that workforce, not only for now, but that workforce in the future? And we have to be finding those mechanisms to be inclusive, and we'll talk about those today. I have 2 young girls. The things that they do now, they tell me how to use an iPhone, and they're 9 and 4. I see nodding heads, all right? That's the workforce of the future, and how we are engaging with them is going to be different than how we are engaging with each other now. So what does that mean? We want to have workplaces that are inclusive. We want to have workforces that exemplify and talk about the diversity both of skills, knowledge, attitudes, beliefs. All those things are so important. But belonging. How do we find ways to ensure that we belong and that we feel that we're belonging? And so as part of the strategy, workplace mental health, harassment, violence, those things are so important. And the minister has been very clear. In Ontario, there is no place for violence and harassment in the workplace. 0. The minister has been very clear. We want to have societies, we want to have workplaces that are inclusive and that really harness, either if you are an individual born here in Canada or if there's someone that you're coming in as a newcomer to the country, that we welcome you. Because at the end of the day, when you have a very healthy and safe workforce that's inclusive and belonging, that's a productive workforce. Caring for your community, caring for each other. So important. So as we continue to move forward, I look forward to listening and learning more. That's why I enjoy coming because, I'm a sponge. I like to learn and listen, and specifically about some of the new innovations that are happening within the sector. I use the mining sector as a great example to talk about, how might we borrow ideas from the mining sector to some of our other sectors that aren't performing as well as we want to be. The use of technology. When you're in the mines, and of course I'm speaking to those that know, the communications historically were a challenge. They're getting better. How might we use that same concept with our other sectors that may have communication challenges as well? When we're talking about working in subterranean environments, what are the necessary apparatus that you need to do in order to continue to find ways to do that work safely? What can we then share with our other sectors that have something similar, may not be exactly the same, but similar. So sharing information, being collaborative, and that is exactly what our colleagues at the WSN does. The sharing of the work that is done through the Ontario Mine Rescue, the training, all of the equipment. Once again, I keep going back to it's known throughout the world. So looking forward to being here with you. A lot of great work, a lot of great opportunities that exist, and I'm here to learn. So please, thank you so much for allowing me to come, and enjoy the rest of the next couple of days, and it'll be awesome. So Alicia, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joel. I agree. I think, everybody here in the room today is really a demonstration of the industry's commitment to continuously improving, evolving, and finding those ways to ensure that we are truly creating safer and more inclusive work environments for all. Now it is my honor to introduce Mike Perron to provide a state of the industry. For those that know Mike, they know that he is a person who exemplifies true leadership through his actions and not just words. He walks the talk. Mike was appointed interim president and chief executive officer at Workplace Safety North in October 2023. He has served as WSN president of Health and Safety Services since 2015 and is a former paramedic, miner, mine rescue volunteer, and mining health and safety manager. As a senior leader, Mike's expert industry knowledge helps to drive innovation in the provincial mine rescue program, health and safety products, training programs, and outreach strategies for the province's mining and forest products operations. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, friends, let's be more inclusive. Bon matin. That's français, bon matin, okay. Hola, miigwech. And for our Polish friends, dzień dobry. Right, Steve? You spent time there? Good stuff. So good morning, and glad to be back up here already. It seems like just yesterday we were doing this, and we got so busy the last year, and I'm so excited to share some of the things we've been doing with you as I go through our State of the Industry address. About, Monday or Tuesday last week, again, we've been doing so many things. Somebody reminded me, how's your State of the Industry coming together? Like, oh, right, that's coming soon. It's next week, Mike. Next week is the conference. Right, I said, it's coming together. I said, what do I need, 5-10 minutes? He said, no, you have 30 minutes on the schedule. So I was like, that panic button, and then they flew in Meg Parker to help me, and she's been helping me put these slides together. She's done a great job, so I'm very thankful. And you'll see, Meg Parker's slides are awesome, professional. You'll see the occasional Mike slide. You'll know which one's the Mike slide. It'd be really easy to tell. But when we started with the first slide, and I was sitting there, and I have now only a couple days to get mentally ready and prepare, and I'm looking at slide one, and I get stuck. I have like a Seinfeld moment. It says, Mike Brown, acting president and CEO. I sat there, and I stopped for acting. What does an acting president do? I've been doing this for 7 months. I've never caught on to this word. So I walk over to Trish and Paige, and they're standing in the office. I'm like, I'm an acting president. I said, what does that mean? And they're like, shouldn't you be getting ready for the presentation? I said, yeah, but I'm stuck on this word. And Trish says, Mike, stop worrying about it. You are acting like a president. I'm acting like a president. That doesn't help me at all, Trish. So I then thought I'd go and get some help from the internet. And I looked up acting, and the definition that came up under acting was, I'm serving as a substitute. I've gone from acting like a president to serving as a substitute. And I can't be associated as serving as a substitute. Let's look at synonyms, something to help me out, get through this. And one of the synonyms I found is impermanent. How many of you knew that was a word? Impermanent, but it's there in the dictionary. I'm like, impermanent president CEO doesn't work for me. Let's look again. Not lasting. Now I'm freaking out. Okay, that's not how I want my tenure to be, whether it's for a little while more or a lot longer. So I made an executive decision with the powers I still have, And I changed the word from acting to interim, and I feel a whole lot better. I have not looked at the definition of interim, and nor will I. We're going to leave it like that. Now, enough about me and my conundrums with my title. We're here to learn more about the industry that we all serve and work in, which is quite exciting. And thank you to the Ontario Mining Association. I borrowed this without asking you. I appreciate you, though, for giving me in advance. This is a map of Ontario with all of the operations. And what we see here is we have 36 active mines. And you could tell, I'm just going to run off the stage and take a bit of a risk. When you're looking at our mines in the south, we tend to have, a lot of the soft rock operations, and then we get into the metals where we're seeing gold, nickel, copper. We have way up there, that yellow dot, that's like the ring of fire, right? We got chromite and nickel up there and some other metals. We still have the Red Lake camp. There's a lot more activity around there. And then, of course, the Fort Frances. So right across our province, there's this activity. And the coolest part isn't just the 32 active mines. It's the 36 active mines. It's the 32 significant projects. Significant projects means that some of these, hopefully a good part of these, are going to materialize. That increases activity in our province. It means more money coming back in our province, more high-paying jobs. And when we talk about jobs, right now we have 31,000 jobs in Ontario associated with mining. Again, very paying jobs. But on the other side, we have 47,000 other jobs supporting mining by way of processing and the mining supply. Now, let's just think for a second. Are employers today starting to have challenges in getting some of the skilled workers and some of the tradespeople with our 36 active mines? Yes, we're starting to see that. What happens when these other 32 projects start to materialize, right? The theme today is about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's never been more important for our industry to lead the way. Dr. Joel Moody said it. We go to mining when we want to learn to lead and change and do more progressive things. And we're going to need to lead the way again, really out of desperation to be able to fill those positions that are going to be coming as a result of this growth. Ontario is a geopolitically safe place to operate. So mining companies now are turning to us. We have great minerals, great people, we have talent, so it's a great place to come and set up to operate a new mine. With the critical mineral strategy, we know there's a demand for the metals we make, not just for now, but forever. The nickel that we produce, some of the gold, some of the other metals are all very important for a lot of the things that we want in our futures. On top of that, when we talk about the industry and the state of the industry, as we look at those 36 currently active mines, when we're mining, it's a non-renewable product, right? We can't just add a bit of water in a couple of years. Hey, the copper grew back nicely. I love it. That doesn't happen. So we have to go a little bit deeper, a little bit further, a little more challenging. And that's becoming some of the realities we're seeing at our mines. They're getting deeper, a little bit more challenging. And then what we're also seeing is we're looking a little bit further, more remote. So again, those are going to provide some challenges for us, and we need to stay ahead of it. As Dr. Moody stated, we have a pretty good safety record. We believe we do. But when one thing happens that's permanent to any person, that's not acceptable. That can't happen. That leads me to my question, and this is a question for you to reflect on. Are Ontario mines safe? And this is an individual question. But now I'm going to ask you. Are Ontario mines safe?
Yes.
Yes? I'm hearing yes. I like that.
Relatively speaking, yes, I would think.
Relatively speaking, sure. Well, I'd be biased if I gave an answer given what I do, because I can't say no. That would be bad for me, especially in an acting role, right? So I turned to my friend, hey, Google. And I said that. I did this the other day. I think it was on Thursday. I said, I wonder what Google would say. I said, hey, Google, are Ontario mines safe? And this is what Google said. This was unsolicited, right? Ontario is renowned for its commitment to safety in the mining industry. This is using AI now to form this answer. In fact, it ranks among the safest jurisdictions globally, and mining itself stands out as one of the safest industries within Ontario. I love artificial intelligence. I didn't care for it a week ago, but after this exercise, I think it's the greatest thing. We need to do more. And it talks about the different types of mining, but at the bottom, and I didn't expect this, Google AI said, the commitment to safety extends to mine rescue capacity as well. By bolstering these efforts, Ontario sends a strong message that is an ideal and secure jurisdiction to work. Let's think about that. We've been doing so many great things. Mining industry has led the way. Remember the wildcat strike back in the Savage Elliott Lake? that was a moment in time that changed the world of health and safety, not only in Ontario, but in Canada. And since then, after that, there was the implementation of the IRS, Supervisory Common Core, a number of different reviews coming back with different recommendations. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. But that's how we are as an industry. So yeah, we're hard on ourselves. We continue to look at what didn't work, and we learn from them to make them better. And we don't want bad things happening. But I asked our data stats, and we're not focusing a whole lot on lagging indicators anymore. We're really trying to be forward-looking, understanding the risks and managing those. But we had a 17% decrease in recordable injuries from 2022 to 2023. Some of that will be tied to COVID claims for sure, but still it's showing a favorable trend for us over the last year. How it all works as far as the system, we had Dr. Joel Moody up here. There's a photo of him. Hey, Dr. Joel, he's in person right there. All right. And then this is the whole system that we navigate in, right? So you can see Joel is in the big bubble sitting at the bottom there, Joel Moody, and then there's a whole system that supports Ontario health and safety. And WSN is kind of in that middle box under oversight and guidance, and we're like the third bullet down, and that's us. All this other world influences us, and I'm not going to bore you with all of the details, but just showing the amount of support and noise around us. And that guides us to, following the provincial strategy. So all of that group work through Joel, and they come up with provincial strategy. They did this a few years ago, and there's the crux of it. And onto the other side, on the right, you're seeing the WSN strategy. So we take what they want us to do, and we integrate that with our strategy. And our strategy has really been sector-focused, digital optimization, system collaboration. We're not just trying to be ready to meet the needs of now. We're looking at meeting the needs of tomorrow. Our work on our strategy, tied into the priorities of the province, has just been a great place for us to land. And I'm going to share a little bit about why. Anybody know this group? If you didn't, their name's right there, Ontario Mine Rescue. What do? They perform mine rescue. They have a slogan. It says, prepared since. There's missing something there. I'm looking for someone to help me. Prepared since 1929. Paige, I don't know if we have any prizes, but give it to that person if we do. Prepared since 1929. Mine Rescue was formed in 1929 as a result of a fire. Which mine was that fire at? Extra points. Hollinger. Too many people, can't give prizes, don't have the budget. The Hollinger mine fired 1928, which I believe had a total number of fatalities, victims, 39. Really, that wasn't acceptable. We had to get people from all over the world to come to help us. So in 1929, we formed Ontario Mine Rescue. We're going to be 100 years in just a couple of years. And we've had a stellar record because of how we administer the program. Now, these individuals you see here are the 20 individuals that lead this program. 17 of them are mine rescue officers in the field. Last year, they delivered almost 900 training sessions to 925 volunteers. Now, for those of you who've been around volunteer firefighters, how often does a volunteer firefighter go for training? I need to set this up better, make sure I have a volunteer firefighter in the crew next year. How often does a volunteer firefighter go for training? Once a week, right? They go for an hour and a half, 2 hours to practice on equipment. How often does a volunteer mine rescue officer or mine rescue trained volunteer get training? 6 days a year. That's it. We have them for 6 days a year. So you understand the importance of really upskilling our mine rescue officers to know our equipment really well, to be at their elite as far as being able to train our 925 volunteers, because they only have 6 opportunities a year after they finish their introductory course. So this is what they've been doing. Really proud of the group. And how are we getting ready for tomorrow? Well, we started last year. In great part, thank you for the funding from the ministry. Thank you, Joel. We were able to set up a surface program. And in the surface program, again, we have mines now becoming more remote. We have mines in communities where the municipal fire probably doesn't have all of the services needed in the event of an emergency, so we've stepped up. We've decided to train all of our mine rescue officers into surface training. And again, with the special funding, what we've done is we can't set up stations at every mine operation. It would just be cost prohibitive. So we've set up 4 specialty trailers. We have a total of 100 of those self-containing breathing apparatus, plus a whole lot of other gear, so that we're ready to respond to surface emergencies. We've already trained 12 courses on the surface response last year to the operations that we're looking to be involved. We're also training as part of the surface training. We're going to integrate hazmat, especially hazmat confined space. So our mine rescue officers did kind of intro foundational. This year, they're going to be specially trained to become trainers, so that when we integrate this into surface training, we'll be able to train all of the surface volunteers into hazmat confined space entry. Advanced training on gas detection. When I started on mine rescue, that would have been around 2002, we were still using the lamps. Do you remember the lamps? And we looked for a flame, and the flame flickered, behaved, or went out. That wasn't a good thing. That was just slightly better than the canary, because with the canary, if it died, that wasn't a good thing. If it lived, it was a good thing. So we went to gas detection systems. Now in mining, again, with the innovation, we're bringing new things, going deeper. We bring in battery electric. Hey, it's great. It doesn't cause emissions, a lot safer. Oh, wait a second, sometimes they burn. That's not a good thing. They create new gases, and some of the equipment causing, again, gases we're not familiar with. So it's become more important that we get the best technology to help us. With our mine rescue officers, not only did we ask them to get the best technology, we sent them to industrial scientific so they could be specially trained in the devices. They know those devices in and out. They had to take them apart, put them back together, so they understand them at a high level. We felt that's important because now, when we only have those 6 sessions a year and they're introducing us to our volunteers, they understand that unit at a high level. It's going to help them make sure that those who are going to be using those units on a mission understand it enough to be able to do what they have to do underground to measure gases and oxygen levels. Rope rescue. This is like the cool one for me. So in Taunton 2021, we did a major rescue at Taunton. We had to bring a number of members of the employees up through the ladders using ropes. And it was a lot of work. But we've gone to a better place. After doing some research, we've bought these ascenders. Now, this is mission impossible stuff, right? You connect it, throw in a battery, up you go. So for the volunteers who are in this group, coming soon to you, I think it's going to be a piece of equipment, a life-saving equipment that you're going to enjoy a whole lot once we bring them to your sites. And again, it's going to make extrication in certain situations so much better. And one of the bigger advancements with technology is the implementation of the tablets. And again, Ontario Mine Rescue leading the way. 9 years ago, this was our vision to have get away from paper form. So paper had been used probably since, 1929. And it's hard in an environment where it's damp, it could be water, stuff going on, to continue to use the paper to record everything you're doing. So our group worked with InFocus and then eventually with Draeger. And now we have these tablets, and we've just finished implementation at the 28 stations just a few weeks ago, so we're really pleased about that. And now we have a tool that we can record all the information live, and once they're able to communicate with service through the mine's communications infrastructure, then we're able to get live information to surface. So again, just some great work there. And again, getting us ready to go deeper, go more remote, go further. So we're preparing for where the mining's going. The other side of our business is the health safety services group, right? I absolutely love this photo. This photo had no prep time. It really was just, hey, we should take a photo. And we walked around downtown Sudbury, and in our clothes, people wondering what we're doing. And we found a lane that's really cool, and we just kind of put a V. And then it would be like, kids playing hockey, somebody yelled, car, and we all had to move and let the car go through and then regroup in that V to get that photo. And it was the perfect photo. And at the front, we have Diana Limar, who's one of our business analysts, and she's got that right look of professionalism with a hint of attitude, right? And I kind of like that with the dark shirts, right? So again, we have this whole team looking to make workplaces safer. I mean, that's what we do between Mine Rescue, Health Safety Services. We're looking to make workplaces safer. And how we do that is with a lot of industry collaboration. Here we have an example, a staged example of kind of working with our board. Our board is comprised of members of labor and industry and SMEs and consultants. So we have a well-rounded group that at a governance level are looking to us and working with us on our strategy. That's really important to have that group, and they've been solid for me in the 6-7 months I've been working with them. And our plans for the next little while is to do a strategy refresh. So when we meet in June, we're going to be looking at where are we, how's the world changed, and how do we continue to build that strategic plan to align to that of Joel's plan to prepare us for tomorrow, which has allowed us to do some of the great things I've already showed you. So a lot of industry collaboration, but wait, there's more. You could tell this is a mic slide. Outside of our board, we look to engage with industry, engage with our sector. It starts with the Mining Advisory Committee. Mining Advisory Committee, again, we have representation there from labor, from industry, We sometimes have SMEs. We have members from the Canadian Diamond Drill Association, the Ontario Mining Contractor Safety Association, the Ontario Mining Association, the MLRC. We look to have members from the nickel, from the gold, from the north, from the south, so that we have real well-rounded representation on that group. We have another individual who brings in that mental health wellness, overall wellness of an individual to help us. So this group meets 4 times a year. We kind of present things we're working on. We get advice from them. Sometimes they bring new ideas to us to consider. Outside of that, we have 4 technical advisory committees: the mobile TAC, the ground control, workplace environment, and the mine rescue. And these groups, again, they're forming with a different purpose. So with the mobile TAC a couple of years ago, they're looking at emerging issues, and there was that whole little battery electric vehicle thing going on. And I'll talk about them in just a minute, but they took this on and they made this a project. Ground control, I can't say enough about this group. This group alone is responsible for preventing so many bad things at our mines, and they're like the unsung heroes. So Philip DeRees works with this group, and these professionals, they get together, share their best practices, they talk about technology, and we don't really get to appreciate it because what they do is, they make sure the roof doesn't fall on our heads. We don't ask a lot of questions, but roofs aren't falling on our heads as far as what we call the back in a mine, and that's a lot of work by this group. So again, very appreciative. Workplace Environment Technical Advisory Committee. They're looking at that workplace environment. They've done some great stuff with cyanide. We had a couple of bad things, but what we learned in the field is a couple of really bad things could have happened that didn't. And this group here has been working on bringing new information to the operators who use cyanide. And one of those is an infographic. And we have the Mine Rescue TAC, again, giving advice to that group as to operationalizing plans. Other stakeholders listed here, which I've mentioned most of them already, are the ones that we go to. So again, for us to be effective, we engage, and we engage often with the industry, the sector that we serve in mining. And what has that done for us? A lot. In 2019, Sam Barbuto, who's kind of the host for the mobile equipment, saying there's a lot of talk about batteries. More people would like to know more about batteries. They're having fires. Not a lot of information being shared, and somebody should do something. I think as Sam has put it. So I went to Gabby, and Gabby is watching on live stream. I hope Gabby's expecting to be a mom, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. But good luck, Gabby. We talked, and I said, I think Sam's talking to us. I think we're the ones who need to do something. So we did. In 2019, we planned for our first battery electric vehicle symposium. We weren't sure what we were getting into. We hosted at our office on February 2020. Does everybody remember February 2020? It was the last in-person event we had for a long time. But we had about 45 people come to our Sudbury office and share information, and it was quite good. People let their guards down, so OEM shared a little bit more. Networking started, and has since grown. We had to go virtual for a couple of years, but this year was phenomenal. We partnered with Cambrian College. We used their eDome. You can see here we have 80 persons in the room, but the coolest part is we had more than 150 live streaming from all over the world, listening to what we had to share. Next year, our goal is to do this, but do it even better. Have different presenters, maybe somebody from the battery technology, the chemistry to come and share, maybe a little bit more mine rescue. But we're going to do this again next year, and I expect to be as successful, if not more so. So again, listening to the industry, these are things we're doing to respond to your needs. We talk about remote working. We're seeing that some mines are hard to reach, some workers are hard to get at. We know that there's a high turnover. The baby boomers are leaving, and this time they're not coming back, which is creating a lot of vacancies. And so we need more Joint Health Safety Committee members trained, or supervisors to do their Supervisor Common Core. So how we're helping is we said, hey, let's be the first again to do something different. And with that little thing in the middle there, it's called an owl. And that owl was introduced by Philip DeRees to us, saying, hey, there's this thing called an owl. And I said, who? And he said, owl. And I said, who? Yeah, I'll stop there. So what we plugged it in, what the owl does is if it hears a noise, it zooms in. So in a classroom, it's moving all the time to where someone's speaking. And if you're at home, you're feeling engaged because you're almost participating. So if we work with our trainers with the technology to be able to do this training. So in North Bay a couple of weeks ago, there were 4 people in the room, 9 people online, all over the province getting JCERT Part 1. How cool is that? We're able to meet their needs. They're able to work from home if it's easier for them, save the travel costs. And the feedback was very positive. So we're investing more into this because we see a lot of value in doing more. When you think about supervisor common core, and there's going to be, again, more turnover expected, we're going to try and do some of this where the courses fit well through the OWL, so that, again, it gives options to employers to come in person or to go through a hybrid option if that works best for you. It also opens up the opportunity to more classes. So if Sudbury's having a class and you're in Red Lake, you can jump into the Sudbury class by registering through the virtual technology. So again, very exciting to see where we're going with this technology, and I'm sure there's more to come. Here's a big one. Mental health in the workplace. 20 years ago, at a mining conference, we wouldn't have talked about mental health in the workplace. Last year, we had Alan Keller up here. He had the highest reviews, probably of any presenter ever. He was open to talk about his struggles, his challenges, how to help. And then he had a following. He'd leave the room and people were following him. And he stayed for the full 2 days. And I would see him in the hallway just talking to people. It's about removing the stigma. It's about having the conversations. We've all been through a lot in the last little while. And it's not always about us. It could be people in our household, people in our circle. So it's about recognizing the symptoms and what to do, when to get help. What does that help look like? So when we brought out this suite of programs, we have some for supervisors, for substance in the workplace, for workers, removing the stigma. We weren't sure what the uptake was going to look like. Well, last year we delivered over 100 sessions to over 1,000 participants. The uptake is there. People want more, and we're doing our best to meet that need. So it's very cool. Going a little bit further than that, we're taking some of what we've learned in mental health, and we're bringing it into some of our other programs, so that it's not just a standalone thing. When we're creating or helping develop supervisors, we're going to be talking about mental health because it's become part of the job now. We talked about workplace harassment and violence. So the counter to that is a civil and respectful workplace. And I think that's what we'd rather promote, so we don't end up in a position where workplace has violence and harassment. The other really great thing that we've done, and this again, with the lead of the Mining Legislative Review Committee, we've been working on sector risk assessments. And again, this organization has produced more sector risk assessment, more root cause analysis than probably all of the other safety partners combined. Because we're passionate about this, we know if we identify the bad things that can harm people, and we identify the controls and make sure the controls are there, bad things don't happen to people. It's a very logical approach. So under Tom Welton and his leadership, working again with a group of the Mining Legislative Review Committee, we've done a lot of these now. We've done them in different sectors in mining, different, the drilling, surface, underground, and we have a lot of resources that we're ready to share. And a lot of the resource, after we do the risk assessment, we try and publish, like a bulletin to add information to make sure that you have tools and resources to help you. This is all on our website. It's all free. I encourage you, go grab it, take it. It helps in your safety management program to go and pull the risk assessments for the areas that apply in your organization and make sure you have what you need. And if you have questions, contact us. We're here to help. So again, talked a lot about many of the great resources. So how are we here to help? I spent a lot of time talking about where the industry is going. We're anticipating growth like we've probably never seen before since kind of the gold rush. Emerging technologies, more electric vehicles. We see drones underground. What's tomorrow going to bring? I don't know. But it's for us to be able to anticipate and be ready for that. With respect to our field staff, not only have we listened to, engaged with, and responded to the needs, we're also geographically present. This is Ontario. Our small organization, kind of the smallest of the health safety associations, has the biggest area to cover. We have all of Ontario, essentially. So for us, when Robert Marin goes to do any kind of activity at all, he's driving. He lives in Thunder Bay. How many mines are in Thunder Bay? None. Same with Penny Ratushniak, who's in Dryden. She drives. So they're traveling all across their province to be able to meet the needs. We're going to flex on technology to maybe take away some of that burden. And that way, maybe Robert could spend more time doing consulting, spending time one-on-one, while Lindsay and Sudbury is doing some of the training delivery for those who need it, right? So we're trying to balance where we are, where we want to be. And lastly, the inclusivity journey. I was in North Bay last week meeting with our marketing education services team, and Kellyanne said, we were talking about this, she said, what's the difference between including and inviting? And I said, I don't know. She said, well, you look at a transit system. We invite everyone to take the transit. You show up, pay your $2.25. I think it's $4 now in Sudbury, something like that. And you can get on the bus. But can everybody actually make it to the bus station and get on the bus? That difference between inclusion and invitation. We know that we have a labor shortage. We're going to be looking to attract persons. They may have English as a second language. They may have a different skin color. They may be a different gender. It's going to be different, but we need them, their talent. They're going to be happy to work at our mining operations. And how do we make it inclusive? We talked about just a moment ago, coveralls. Coveralls were designed for men. Fit men comfortably, should be good enough for man, right? Fit them well. No, not at all. I remember, true story, I was at, don't tell anybody, okay? Just between you and me. I was at a Lululemon store. Yeah, everything after this is wrong. And they used to make a type of pant that I love with this material, but they said we don't make it in men's anymore. But they have one in women's. And I said, well, if I pull the tag off, no one would know. I got the pants I want with the material I like. So let's try on a pair. I'll tell you right now, I could not wear that pair of pants. It wasn't made for me. And even though I love the material, I could never buy it. It was wrong. I can't imagine how it must be for one to feel being forced to wear clothes that wasn't designed for them. So are we inviting women and others, maybe people with English second language, to our mining operations, or are we including them? And that's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Where's the opportunity to do better so we are truly more inclusive? At our organization, I'm very proud to say that when I started in 2015, we had one woman who was in our frontline field staff. And it wasn't because the organization didn't want that. It was just that's the way it was. Forestry, pulp, paper, sawmills, mining, kind of a guy thing. So we start to go and kind of recruit ourselves, encourage some very bright, capable, talented women to apply. And we hired a couple. And they start to be in classrooms in front of others who would see them. And now we start to see kind of a snowball effect where there was applications, more applications. We're not worried about what ethnicity you are, what gender you are, what language you speak. We look for people who are passionate about health and safety, passionate about mining, passionate about forestry, pulp, paper, who are competent, who can stand in front of a room and inspire others. And that served us exceptionally well. And this photo, I think, represents today we have half of our field staff are women versus one only 9 years ago. Very proud of that. With respect to diversity, equity, inclusion, our efforts going forward are going to be in the things we do. So now, in the tone of inclusivity, we're going to upskill one member of our marketing communications and one in our education services to go through all of our content and resources to make sure it's inclusive. Bit of a project there, but it's the right thing to do. With respect to mine rescue, does anybody recognize the lady at the podium with the microphone? Carrie. Carrie who? Carrie Lunkowitz. All right. Anybody know who Carrie Lunkowitz is? Nobody. I see a hand over there. Yes.
Yeah, Carrie's Diamonds in the Rough. She was just on my LinkedIn live show a couple weeks ago.
Right. Stand up and say it real loud.
She could just stand up.
Yeah.
She was one of the co-founders of Diamonds in the Rough.
Yeah.
I do the changing face of mining, and she was on the show a couple weeks ago.
Excellent. Thank you for that. She started Diamonds in the Rough, an all-women's mine rescue competition team. And we want to take what she did and help and exemplify it. So in 2019, the 90-year anniversary of mine rescue, we brought them here. They were a handful, I'll be honest with you. They really were. They were amazing. They spent time on this stage, time with our delegates. We went to high schools with them, and they continued to promote the message, break the barriers, shatter the norms about women in mine rescue. And they're still existing today. I ran into Carrie a couple of weeks ago. I didn't know she was at PDAC. We were talking, I mentioned her name. Somebody went and got her, and she listened to what I had to say. Luckily, I was saying good things about her. But they're doing some great things, and we promote that. And that's what we've been doing as an organization. So we know that we've had an increase in women volunteers for mine rescue, which is great. And we're going to look to ensure that we create an environment of inclusivity so we can grow that number for them.
Carrie's also fundraising right now to go to Columbia.
She's what?
Fundraising to go to Columbia with the team.
Yes, so if anybody wants to help them, they have to do fundraising because they're not associated with any one mining company, and they're always looking for funds to support them so they can compete at the international levels. Well, that is what I had to share in my state of the industry. I hope it was informative and helpful for you. And more importantly, I hope you have an awesome 2 days with us. Take time to meet with our staff, ask questions if you need any help, and I look forward to meeting or speaking with you if you'd like to over the next 2 days. Have a great session. Thank you.
Wow, Mike, there are so many takeaways. If you take a look at my paper here, I just kept jotting. But yeah, I do know Carrie and what she's done with Diamonds in the Rough is absolutely amazing. And we actually have some Diamonds in the Rough here from Sudbury. So there are women on that team from Sudbury who participate on that. And it's an all-female Canadian team. So it's women from across the Canadian mining industry who make up this team. And their first ever international competition was actually in Russia. And at that time, it was illegal for women to go underground. So really, you know, breaking some glass ceilings there and competing. And they actually won I believe it was like the fan favorite award that year. Some other takeaways, I think, Mike, I like the invite versus include, and, you know, thinking about the workwear and just kind of taking that a little bit further. What we're seeing is also cultural requirements. So in talking with Sentiment in Egypt, you know, we're looking to design workwear that include the hijab. We've also been learning that in certain cultures, the way they wear their workwear has to change. So for example, you know, females in Egypt have to cover their back. So, you know, even their shirts can't be tucked in. So, you know, we think, you know, kind of one size fits all here in Canada, but the reality is as you bring in new cultures, you have to respect their differences. And that really kind of gets incorporated into workwear too. The other thing is, you know, I think we should take what Google's response was about mining in Ontario. And I think the OMA should really leverage that in trying to attract and retain new talent. You know, people have a perception about the mining industry and how it's, you know, not safe and it's dirty and all these negative kind of connotations. But I mean, Google is saying it's, you know, one of, if not the safest industry in Ontario out of all industries. So the OMA should really leverage Google's response, and I'll share that with them, Mike.